All right, Javier, it's a very short turnaround time here between the airing of SmackDown in the United States on USA Network and the start of a PLE at 8 a.m. Eastern. It's 10 Eastern, so about 10 hours from now, the PLE starts. I kind of like SmackDown, the formula of WWE before PLEs not going into weekends, where it's almost like a mini PLE. Like they try to not make it just feel like an infomercial where nothing happens. And part of why they can do that is the PLEs have fewer matches now. So they can actually have a match or two that might have been on a PLE and put it on SmackDown to make the show not feel instantly dated and irrelevant and just an infomercial. And we had a good main event with Damian Priest and Aleister Black with an angle at the end. We had a match I was looking forward to, the Wyatt Six and the Street Profits, that felt very forgettable. And it was just a way to get to the next thing. We'll get into that. So it was a bit of a letdown. The only thing that sort of felt like a warm-up for the pay-per-view, match-wise, was the Tiffany Stratton and Vaquer against Julia and Kiana match. And we had a U.S. title open challenge with Sammy, which was fun, and it was the return of Shinsuke. So, honestly, like 3 of these 4 matches have nothing to do with the PLE, and even though they weren't, like, they didn't exceed expectations, and one was below it, it was still kind of a fun couple hours of WWE programming. So I'm kind of asking you for kind of the big-picture thought on the show, with in the context of what I'm saying, which is it's kind of nice that the show before PLE weekends doesn't feel wasted.
Yeah, it's been a while that I've felt that what you're talking about. I basically consider the SmackDown before the PLEs, particularly if they're all going to be airing the same, airing from the same area. It just feels like the 1 hour pre-show before that they used to have, where you put in the matches that wouldn't have made the main card. And that's kind of what, because these are stories that have been built up and you're blowing them off right before the PLE. And you're not basically regurgitating everything and just basically dotting some I's, crossing some T's for the PLE. And that's pretty much it, while giving, endings or what you would see in a PLE had they made the cut.
Yeah, a good way to put it. Dotting I's and crossing T's. And there was more to it. It's a standalone show.
And there's probably some logic to that, because let's say you can't have someone gets injured or something and a match gets taken out, then you could basically plug in that the Black match into
the tag title. Yeah.
So you have some more flexibility that way too.
Also, I just think they get paid so much now from USA Network, NBC Universal, and Netflix. They don't want. I mean, the PLEs, by definition, are going to have the world title matches and the really big matches, especially the WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Rumble type stuff. But for a Crown Jewel event, you don't have a huge incentive to load it up so much, and you also don't want to upset your TV partners who pay a ton of rights fees by having it just be transparent that you're creating an infomercial. So anyway, I mean, I'm still kind of getting used to it, but I just want to point out I'm pleased with it. I like this approach that the TV shows, fans are paying a lot of money to attend these. I mean, ticket prices are high. They're drawing big crowds. And you also have people spending 2 hours of their life watching a show. But I mean, not that it's the most important, but it's the most compelling reason to do this is per show, these networks are paying a lot of money, and they need to send a message to the executives. We're not saving everything for ESPN tomorrow. We're giving you something good. And I think they on paper did that, and we can discuss whether in execution they did that. I want to start with the Aleister Black and Damian Priest main event. We had the return of Zelina Vega. She got in the midst of she entered through the crowd, and I don't know how she got there so quick, but I mean, I don't know. She had a couple minutes of fighting to find her way there. We're not supposed to think that hard about it, but she kind of stopped Priest when Priest had momentum. It looked like he might get the win after a couple 9 counts in a last man standing match. And then Aleister Black had time to recover and threw a fireball in Priest's face. Very close to the front row of fans, by the way. That could have gone a little wrong. I'm not sure how wise that was to fight that close with a fireball, but the crowd reaction, the fan reactions in the front row was pretty good. And then that led to him being knocked off the platform, going through a table and getting counted down. So Black gets the win thanks to a fireball, and Zelina. I was watching this and I was like, are they really going to have either Priest or Black lose, clean, quote unquote, by being counted down? It's not quite the same as a pinfall or submission, the way that they tell their stories, but I didn't really think they'd have Black lose. So I thought Priest would lose if anyone, but that didn't make a ton of sense either. This made sense. Again, I'm not defending the approach. I'm just being neutral on it. The way WWE books, that's the type of finish that I wasn't specifically predicting, but in general thought there'd have to be to explain why some of them lost. One of them lost clean. What do you think?
Yeah, the moment they went into that area, I'm like, okay, where is the big drop that's going to go through something that's got padding underneath?
Yeah.
Is what I was going for. So
Yeah.
At that point, I kind of knew what it was good. Fireball surprised me. I did see like Selena like hand something to him.
Yeah.
Because my eyes were drawn to that, and I'm like, oh, did she give him Nux? Did she?
It was
give
a
him
fortune
something?
cookie. It was a fortune cookie.
And so then when it would turn out to be a fireball, it was like, that it's fireballs have turned out to be bad so many times where it doesn't come out right,
Mhm.
and luckily they were able to it was a perfect fireball.
It was.
So it worked, and yeah, I mean it's pretty much what you expect. It's not a real clean win by Black. I was kind of expecting somebody going through something and get like electrocuted kind of finish, but yeah, I mean it was fine. Maybe it continues, and it's a good idea, pairing Selena Black with Selena with Aleister Black.
So Derek Hubbard says in the chat, this might be the spark, pun intended, that Black needs. The most effective Vega was as a character, was as a valet for Andrade. She was the secret sauce and missing ingredient Andrade needed. How do you feel about that, Black and Zelina, and what you think their on-air storyline chemistry will be?
I tell you what, I'm going to be missing Karrion Kross and Scarlett, because the two of them against each other would have been great in terms of the characters they are. But yeah, I'm kind of almost expecting that, but better in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, they both can talk, but they talk very different. Black is very just methodical, pre-recorded, philosophical, deep, and Vega's kind of the more intense and fiery. So it might spice things up in terms of Black's sort of, I don't know, just monotone approach. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it can work. BJF says that it should be a good pairing. Zelina's a great manager, even though she's good in the ring. The best she has been was when she was with Andrade. And someone else had a comment on that I was going to bring up. Darrell's original comment here. Seeing Black with Vega is good to see. I hope it adds something different to his act. Sadler Vision 3 in the chat says, I'm surprised they did that spot so close to the fans, but their reactions were great. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's newsworthy. Generally speaking, with Aleister Black, I'll just go to this now. What do you assess his upside is within WWE? They're kind of protecting him, but it doesn't feel like they're preparing him or building him to something really big. But they're also protecting him and not defining him down as a guy who, well, he had his chance to be a star. Now we're going to feed him to other people to lose. What's your sense of how WWE sees him, and how do you think fans see him, and what is kind of his? I know the upside and the ceiling is a phrase that's kind of overused without context, but you know what I mean. Like, where do you anticipate in the next 2 years, give or take, is the top spot he's likely to be booked at?
I think he's someone who could at some point catch fire with the fans, kind of like LA Knight has. So having him around and keeping him doing interesting stuff, maybe he'll, bubble to the top. I think that's kind of the type of character that he is. I don't think he's someone who's going to be like a perennial top guy. But I think, at some point, because I don't think people really glommed onto him in NXT immediately. When he showed up, it took a little bit of showing what he was capable of doing before he became a fan favorite. And yeah, I'm interested to see what if that's kind of how their plans for him are. I spoke with on Analogy WWE how Knight has been giving opportunities, but doesn't feel like he's not getting like the machine pushing him, but he's being put in opportunities where to see what he could do. I could see the same thing for Aleister Black. Put him up against Penta or Phoenix or some of those people, and see if the crowd gets behind him or against him in case being a heel. And I've kind of liked the promos. He hasn't gone like straight deep, spooky talk and
Yeah.
like straight up. I mean, he's still like dark. I like the pairing with one of the things I like about the pairing with Selena is since he's more of a colder character, she's a warmer character. More fiery and stuff. So it'll make a good juxtaposition when they cut their promos because they're both going to end up they're going to both be speaking during their promos.
Yeah, and Sadler Vision 3 said in the chat, I hope they both speak. I don't want Selena just being silent like Scarlett was. I do not think Selena is going to be quiet. I think that they will both be talking. All right, well, let's pause and introduce the show. And then we've got Jason D from Australia, who attended, I believe, to give us an on-site perspective. So we'll do that, and then we'll talk about other things in the show, including the Cody promo, where I don't think he mentioned the Crown Jewel title belt once, even though they did a whole expensive video production of it being moved from Saudi Arabia to Australia. We'll talk about that. The return of Shinsuke Nakamura, what that means, and a big presence with the MFTs tonight. And what was up with that tag team title match? Why was it so short? And what's going on with the Street Profits? So all that and more coming up. This is the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Post Show for Friday, October 10th, 2025. And I'm Wade Keller, host of the show, editor, publisher, and founder of the Pro Wrestling Torch weekly newsletter and the website PWTorch.com with daily news, special features, flashbacks, polls, live TV, and PLE coverage, and more. By the way, tomorrow, Brandon LeClaire will be hosting a live post show right here on our YouTube channel. Search PW Torch or Wade Keller to find it if you're listening to us on the podcast side of things. And he'll be live and reviewing this event as soon as it ends, which should be, I think, around 10 or 11 Eastern on Saturday morning, U.S. time. So check us out here. And then that'll also be distributed on our PW Torch Daily Cast podcast feed. So search PW Torch in your podcast app and look for that early Saturday afternoon, and you can hear the post show. And then on the VIP side of things, Rich Fan, Todd Martin, and I plan to record a VIP roundtable tomorrow just for PW Torch VIP members. You're missing a lot. If you're not a VIP member, you can find out what VIP membership entails at pwtorch.com/govip. An ad-free website, ad-free version of our free podcasts, a ton of VIP exclusive podcasts, compatibility with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Patreon. A library that dates back 35 plus years of podcasts, radio shows, newsletters, and articles. Check out full details, pwtorch.com/govip. We're here to talk SmackDown tonight. Jabvier Machado, a PW Torch contributor, is my guest. Jabvier, welcome back. You took a little hiatus from acknowledging WWE, but you and Mike Myers are back this week. That is on the PW Torch Daily Cast feed also. So if people have not checked out your return with Mike Myers, just search PW Torch in your podcast app or just refresh your PW Torch Daily Cast feed on your phone, and you can get that show. You also write pay-per-view PLE primers on WWE events for PW Torch. Jabvier, welcome.
Thanks for having me on, Wade.
Yes, good to have you. Before I go to Jason, just want to remind people you can participate in our chat right now if you're watching us live on YouTube. You're welcome to join us live on YouTube after Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, plus PLEs. And then the NXT crew, the PWT Talks NXT crew, hosts on Tuesday nights here on the YouTube channel. Again, you can subscribe to us on YouTube and watch us live, or as most of you do, just listen in our audio-only podcast format. Search PW Torch and Wade Keller to subscribe to both. But as we're live, you can chat. You can also email us, wadekellerpodcast@gmail.com. wadekellerpodcast@gmail.com. We also welcome your phone calls, and we also welcome on-site correspondence. You can plan ahead. It's better if you do, so we know you're calling in, but you can also on a whim call us if you attend a show and have time to join us as an audio caller or audio and video caller. The link to be the caller is in my TV reports at PW Torch, and also usually on our Patreon page. And so if you if you can't find them and you just email us at wadekellerpodcast@gmail.com, I can also send you a link. We enjoy hearing from people who attend the shows in person and provide that in-person perspective. Speaking of which, Jason D, welcome. How'd your weekend start?
Yeah, hi Wade, hi Jabvier, hi everyone. Yeah, weekend started pretty well. It was look, ask away. What do you want to know about? I'm full of answers. Go for it.
So, how excited was the crowd? I mean, it came across on TV that they were into this. What was the crowd like? How did they greet the product with more enthusiasm or in a different way than you anticipated?
No, they graded it the same. I mean, what you have to remember for Australian fans, right? And there are a lot of fans that would have come in from, say, over east, like, say, the eastern states, Victoria, New South Wales. And then there's probably fans that also flew in, around the Asia Pacific or whatnot. But in any event, you have to understand that wrestling fans here in Perth, we never would have dreamed that this would have ever have happened. I mean, to get three events like this back to back to back, not in our wildest dreams, right? So everyone very excited to be there, but I would put it like a polite excitedness, like very knowledgeable about the product, taking it in, but I don't think the fans tried to take away from the product and make it about themselves.
No, I didn't think so either.
There were the typical chants, but they were paying really intently to what was going on in the ring. So I thought there was a nice mix there, but overall, very excited crowd. Very excited, yeah.
Javier, what do you think of the crowd watching on a USA Network?
Yeah, well, I was watching on Netflix because I happen to be in UK.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I thought it was, I thought the same thing. They went with the people because I was kind of almost expecting when Cody mentioned Seth Rollins, you end up having a split of some people trying to sing a song or something like that. But nope, they straight up booed him. Almost seemed like Cody was surprised at that.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised to hear like some people trying to boo CM Punk. I was pleasantly surprised by that. If my ears weren't deceiving me. But yeah, I thought it was, they played well into it and to the stuff that was happening, and they added as opposed to sometimes the crowd ends up detracting when they get too much into the stuff. But no, I thought this was great. I love the whole wanker thing too. So.
So, do you think Cody did not know it was being chanted, or was he just trying to get Cole to say it, which then led to Cole passing it on, maybe genuinely not knowing what was said? I don't know. I don't know if you have to be cool to know what that chant is. And then Barrett boldly quoted the wanker quote.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like they were waiting to get an okay to say it on air. Yeah. That's what it kind of felt like, that they were buying time for that. So I think that whole entire segment is the reason why that tag team match was short.
Interesting.
Because Cody had to reset, because Cody went for that last bit about Seth Rollins like 3 times. And he got interrupted like 3 times with chants. So I think that segment might have gone over easily an extra 5 minutes.
Interesting. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, well, wankers, they're very annoying. So that whole chant probably just stuffed everything up. But hey, I'll tell you the funny thing about that segment. If you go back and watch, when they go to the announce table, it has the main event decal on there. And then I noticed that they obviously didn't change it over. Then when it zoomed back to Cody in the ring, you saw these people rushing over to take that decal off and put the Smackdown one on there.
Oh, wow.
So imagine someone's in their ear saying, God damn it, get that main event decal off that announce table and put the Smackdown one on. Because they rushed over there. Because when you cut to the announcers, you can see it.
Interesting. Javier, do you have a question for Jason from his in-person experience? Otherwise, I can keep going.
Well, I mean, so was I right on the CM Punk thing? Because it kind of felt like there was a grumbling about some people trying to take over.
Yeah, my man, your ears, you're like Superman when it comes to hearing a negative response for CM Punk. It's like it just zooms in. You're like all across. Now, wait a minute. There was a boo. I heard that.
I heard that one guy, third row. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know. Maybe there was. I mean, I think it might have been like the crowd transitioning from cheering, into a CM Punk, and maybe got sort of what sounded like a boo. But I appreciate your effort, Javier, mate. You're strong with it. You're strong with it.
I could always hope.
Jason, do you have anything else you want to bring up, Javier, yet?
No.
So, Jason, for main event, who got the benefit of the first big babyface crowd pop of the night?
So main event, there was 2 matches, right? The first match was Fraxium versus Berto and Angel, and they had a great match, high impact, fast moving, good match. Fraxium won. The second match was Ray Phoenix versus Grayson Waller. Now, Waller came out, he got a big pop, and he sort of played like a babyface type heel, and he won clean.
Okay.
Now, I felt bad for Phoenix because through no fault of his own, he's getting booed, right? But it's only because it was the home crowd. But Waller looked good. Waller looked good. I think he's always had a bit of a muscular tone to him, but he's like really slimmed down. Like he's looking And he hung with Phoenix, like, and he won clean, and he appreciated the crowd support. So that was a nice sort of like couple of main events before the actual show. Then after the show, we got Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso. I would say that was a 7 to 8 minute match. And
Wow.
80% of it was stalling, really, to be honest with you. Playing with the crowd, Jay trying to get Braun to do the yeet chant. Braun didn't do it, kicked him. Jay won with a spear all over. But this was the crowd's first chance to do the whole yeet thing. So the crowd was really into that. And they must have done it. They just kept doing it over and over. There was the encore. So that was just about doing the yeet chant with Jey Uso. And then the second match was Raquel and Roxanne versus Rhea and Io. And that went for about 10 to 12 minutes, where the majority of the match was Io was selling. Rhea makes the big tag, cleans up, pins Roxanne. Crowds go mental for Rhea. So what you pretty much expect there. But it was obviously a great moment for Rhea to be performing in front of her home crowd yet again.
And that was at the end of the night, those last two matches?
That was at the end of the night, and everyone stayed for that. So, yeah, they announced that beforehand. There was going to be a double main event. So as soon as the taping was over with Priest and Aleister Black, pretty much Braun Breaker's music hit straight away to let fans know, you have to stay for this.
Interesting. And that's more extra than they normally give at SmackDown tapings. Usually kind of what you see is what you get. They don't usually do the dark matches. I've contended that AEW would have better attendance right now if their top paid stars were in dark matches, even when they were only cut a promo or didn't appear on Dynamite, because fans would then kind of know, hey, if I pay money, I'm going to get to see a Kenny Omega match or the Young Bucks wrestling or whomever, the big stars were. And after repeated visits and not seeing that, I think it's hurt attendance. WWE for years has done dark matches, but it was back in the day when TV tapings were squash match filled. And so you wanted to give them some of their, quote, money's worth with a marquee competitive match with big names to reward them, and also understand that's going to help make them make up their mind to come back a second time. In this case, Jason, do you think it was necessary is a strong word, but I'll use it for lack of a better word. Was it necessary in order for fans to feel like, based on what was in SmackDown proper and main event, do you think the fans would have wanted more than ending with Priest against Black? Or do you think the fan base knows and there's an understanding, well, if you want to see not all, but if you want to see some of these other big stars, you got to go to the PLE and Raw?
I don't know what their thinking is. I guess for them, it's just, we're in Australia. Australia hasn't had an opportunity to do the yeet chant,
Mm-hmm.
So we want the fans to be part of that. It's not like Jay and Braun really exerted themselves. It was a safe match. It was a quick match,
right,
a lot of stalling, but it was just.
That's the nice part about dark matches. Is it just the fans just want to be there for the ring entrance and they want to react and cheer their favorites and boo their. That's the thing AEW didn't get, is every match with their big talent, with their big names who are talented, don't have to have a 4 or 5 star match every time. Just let the fans see who they are. That seems like what you got tonight, earlier, Jason.
And the other thing is, right, if you end the night on Aleister Black the way that he defeated Damian Priest, two upper card guys, but you wouldn't say like bona fide main eventers. I mean, they're not with all due respect to them, vast majority of the fans are going there to see, other type of wrestlers,
for sure,
with respect to Priest and Aleister Black. So you don't want the first night ending like that. You want to give them the yeet, and you definitely want to give them Rhea Ripley. Now, I'm always like, man, Rhea and Io can have a big tag match tomorrow. You don't want to run the risk of anything happening. You know what I mean? But they gave it to him. Io sold a lot. The crowd was into Io. The crowd was into Rhea. So I think it's ending that first night on a positive and having fans having something to look forward to for Crown Jewel.
I think when you look at the overall festivities all weekend, WWE is becoming masters at making WWE coming to your city feel like a really big deal. Even not just for WrestleMania, like for an event like this. Well, first, I meant to ask, did you go to the kickoff show events or anything like that? Anything besides the show, the SmackDown main show?
No, not really. I mean, that's I watched some of it on YouTube, but
sure, that's fine.
What I can say to that, I mean, there are banners all over the main streets, right? And even with the media, and it's come a long way, there is absolutely there's no mocking tone, not even sometimes before wrestling, it's wrestling. There's none of that. The main media is all into it. They're just, there's a lot of respect towards it. a lot different than what it may have been in previous years. Like, no one making fun of it. Everyone's like happy to have him here. The press are right into it. Everyone's sort of like playing their part, so to speak. And it's just like an overwhelming. We welcome WWE here. It's going to do wonders for our city as far as, promoting tourism and,
I don't even know any other
interest in
city in
Perth.
Australia now other than Perth. That's like the number
Well,
one
let me
city I
ask you.
think of.
All right, let me ask you both the question then.
Yeah.
What is the capital city of Australia?
Perth, because it's the only city I know in Australia. Javier,
Come on,
am I right or wrong?
Javier, you're a man of the world. What's the capital city?
Man,
of
by the way
Australia?
you asked that, I doubt it's Sydney.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I mean, the other one I know is Melbourne, and
Melbourne.
I don't think it's Melbourne either.
Right, it's Canberra.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever heard of Canberra?
Yeah, I think
I've
it's just because I know it's one of those where like everyone assumes like one of those is the big one, but it's kind of like here like Florida, Orlando, Miami, but like our capital is and Jacksonville, our capital is Tallahassee. So
that's right.
And
I guess
Jason,
it's like California. California people think it's Los Angeles when it's Sacramento. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know Canberra because I've spent most of my life mispronouncing it Canberra, so I have memories of that.
Well, then I mean, it's Melbourne, not Melbourne.
I corrected Javier.
Yeah.
I corrected Javier on that. Yeah, it's Melbourne, not Melbourne, right?
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, you got to pronounce it how it's not spelt, so you get an out there because exactly. But
logical.
Exactly. But to answer your question, Wade, yes, look, it's a massive few days here. So with the fans, as far as the merchandise is concerned and what fans were wearing, a big mixture, like of current stars, of past stars. Like I said, you have to remember for a lot of these fans, and I guess you guys in the United States, I wouldn't say you take it for granted, but you're used to it. We never thought anything like this would ever come to Perth.
Yep.
We are the most isolated capital city in the world. And to be honest with you, I could speak for all of Australia. We never thought something like this would come to Australia. So it's a great opportunity for all the Australian fans, which are very knowledgeable and know their wrestling. And, there are more and more Australian wrestlers that are, coming up and being featured. I'm going to be interested to see the reaction that Bronson Reed gets because he's facing Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is going to be incredibly over here. Are we going to get that initial pop and people excited to see Bronson, but then the boos because they were all in on Waller. But for Bronson Reed against Roman Reigns, I'm going to be, because Bronson Reed was meant to come last year, because wasn't the plans for Bronson Reed to face Seth Rollins at Elimination Chamber, but they kind of changed it with everything that was happening with Punk's injury. But also, I think Bronson stayed in Australia for the birth of his first child. So this will be his first time back to perform in front of a big hometown audience.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting what the crowd response is. Javier, do you have any guess? Or I think it's not a huge deal, but it is sometimes a little telling, if someone favors the big star over the hometown heel.
Yeah, I mean, what I picked up the last few shows I've seen, it seems like Reigns is leaning a little bit more into the tribal chief persona, a little bit more heelish, I think, to set up a Bronson Reed, being cheered in the match. For sure, Reigns is going to be cheered at first, but I can see the crowd, one of those, crowd get behind the hometown person, and that makes sense to me.
I should clarify with Bronson Reed and Rhea Ripley, they actually come from Adelaide, so it's not hometown, it's home country. So they would want me to clarify that because they'd be very proud of where they are specifically from. Home country, not hometown.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Kind of like how all of Canada is Sami Zayn's hometown.
That's it. Exactly.
Yeah. So, this is a little bit sidebar, but I made a mental note to bring this up, and I want Javier and Jason, both your opinion. Do you think the media would be as friendly and accepting of pro wrestling and WWE had The Rock and John Cena not broken out as these breakout mainstream movie stars? Is that the primary reason? Would they still be kind of making fun of it? And I mean, how big of a difference do you think that has made? I know it's a guess and it's a kind of a big picture question. Javier, I see you thinking. Now turn those thoughts into words for me.
I think it plays a bit of a role. You might throw Batista in there too. I think it does play somewhat of a role, but I don't think like a major role. I think it's a lot of things that come together. The fact that they're technically streaming streaming darlings because they're streamers are after that in the whole streaming war things. So I think it's just like the amount of it's just become like part of the it's become more of an accepted part of the culture. So it's not like wrestling what Vince
but I
always
wonder
tried to get away from.
But you're I don't know if you're begging the question or it's circular logic, Javier, but are they a streaming darling because of Rock and because of John Cena? Like,
well, I like I said, I think it plays a little bit into that because you have The Rock now with this movie where didn't do too well, unfortunately, in the box office, but it did well critically.
Rich fan said it was a bad movie.
But at least the early critics, you have Peacemaker and a scene as part of the trying to rebirth of the DC universe. So there's some of that, but like I said, and then you have Batista, who's been had some good acting roles. I think that does play a role. So it's not like completely blank on that, but I think the fact that it's just it's just a lot of money. It's on ESPN now, so. If ESPN is like in on the, I don't want to say gag because that kind of seems like mean. Mm-hmm. I think it's something, and because it brings in tourism. Why would the media necessarily say, oh, they're coming? You want to kind of be part of it because it's more of a celebration. I
guess you wonder if they were in a bigger town or not bigger town, a more famous major city in Australia or any country, if they handle it differently than. When a city believes it's being put on the map by WWE, and they are. BJF, by the way, says, I stayed in Perth for about 3 months in 2006. It was a great city. I love going to a nightclub called Black Betty's in Northbridge. It was such a great night out. Has Jason ever been there?
Yeah, I have. That's an interesting nightclub. There are other ones around besides that one. I'll put it that way. But it was not bad. It's not bad. It's got an interesting patronage there. You know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to stop. Family friendly. All right. So, I don't need your producer overly editing things, Wade. But getting back to your question, that is such a great question, right? Now, when you say about is the Perth media treating WWE overly friendly because it's Perth and not a so-called major city like Melbourne or Sydney, I don't think so, because I think if this was happening in Sydney and Melbourne, they would also be all over it. Like, I think a lot of up-and-coming media people are actually like wrestling fans, have grown up as wrestling fans. So it depends. If you've got someone within your company that's a major wrestling fan, I think that's a big difference. But it's a really good question. And I ask you that. When did you sense the tide turning as far as being more positive and accepting of WWE and wrestling in general, like Wade? Because I think it has a lot to do with Cena and The Rock. But when did you sense this tide started turning where it was okay now to really embrace it and not really mock it within the media and give it more exposure and credibility?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been gradual and earned. And I think it is a combination. I mean, I bring up Rock and Cena because I don't think they played a small part. I think they played a big part in it. And I think a lot of the things that you're saying, that you're bringing up and Javier's bringing up, are at least amplified based on their crossover mainstream acceptance. But it was, I mean, Hulk Hogan, for better or for worse, obviously was a breakout star in the WrestleMania years. Mr. T, the Rock and Wrestling Connection, Cyndi Lauper. Vince McMahon knew it would be important to have celebrities, not just to draw wrestling fans, but to gain mainstream acceptance. So, the first WrestleMania and the second one with all the celebrity commentators, Susan St. James. I mean, it was kind of random, Liberace doing stuff. And now their tie-ins with bands. I think being on social media and finding a way to make pro wrestling seem cool with... I mean, the Bloodline is more recent, but it's an example of WWE being more cool, or pro wrestling being more cool. There's something about it over time with a mainstream music, the way that they amplify their characters, and frankly their tie-ins with music and celebrities on social media. I think is a big part of it too. And then it is just a generation of people who are removed from the era when you were hesitant. Well, I know some people are still hesitant to admit they're pro wrestling, fans of pro wrestling, but it was a much bigger deal 30, 40, 50 years ago. You would be kind of mocked and they go, well, it's fake, right? Are you a moron? My God. And, any mainstream outlet would have to, like, in order to save their credibility with their friends and colleagues, they'd have to make fun of it. And that's gone now. You see it with ESPN. Although as they described in their conference call with the media, like the old guard at ESPN are in one half of the cafeteria rolling their eyes at the younger half of the ESPN employee on-air and off-air group who are just lining up to say hi to the Usos in the cafeteria. So there's still a divide. But I think it's a confluence of a lot of things. But, I wrote about it and talked about it way back. Dwayne Johnson did not want to talk a lot about pro wrestling when he first went to Hollywood because he thought it would hold him back and he was going to be good at what he did in action movies. And now nobody who's going from pro wrestling into acting would, I think, hesitate to talk about it. I don't think Cody or MJF are like, oh, I don't want to talk about pro wrestling if I do a mainstream interview for some movie gig I have. Javier, you look like you were wanted to jump in.
Well, yeah, I think that's the biggest would be the change of the guard, where with people who grew up like with the Attitude Era and the eras that followed it are now the ones who you'll have people in a board that say, oh yeah, I used to watch wrestling, and more freedom in that. And I think that goes a further distance, because like you had WCWs because the top guy was a big fan of it, right? So, and wasn't ashamed of it, and he and that was the whole WCW thing. But then when WCW was why can I not remember his name? When he was out of the picture, then the people who took over was like, oh, we don't want this wrestling stuff, and and kicked it out. So I think that we're in a point where some of, like you said, some of the people in ESPN are like, oh, this is cool, this is fun. I found it. I think it was Stephen A. Smith had the Mount Rushmore, and he put the Goldberg at the top, so he was watching wrestling at that era, and he was involved at that point. But that was all he, But at least he knows that wrestling is not, while he, obviously it's dumb that he put him as the best wrestler of all time.
That's one of the biggest eye rolls of any.
I get it, but the fact that he's a fan and he's not eye rolling the whole concept of wrestling is because he was a fan during that.
Of course,
era.
Yeah.
And you can almost nail it down to the week that he was the biggest fan. So, so while he's not knowledgeable for the long period, the long history of it,
well,
here's
like
that and other people.
The thing is, if it's his personal Mount Rushmore, that's fine. If it's a historically all-encompassing objective pick, it's one of the most ridiculous statements ever made about pro wrestling. But if it's just like, hey, here's my Mount Rushmore, this is what caught my interest, that's totally fine. And I would need to know more about the context. But anyway,
the fact that he's freely giving that opinion is the point of it. I'm not I'm not going to base his opinion. I'm not but yeah, it's just the fact that he's more free. If they're more free to air this and spend time on it on TV, give it time, because every second you're on on television, it's money that's being spent, and that's technically advertising, because you're talking about the product. So the fact that they're fine with that,
Okay. Darrell says Stephen A. Smith knew he was trolling with that whole list, and with two picks on that list. All right, fair enough. And also, it doesn't hurt that the NFL players are in, like WWE did in their first ESPN show, the video of all the top sports athletes wearing belts and going back doing the DX chop. It's like, it is part of Americana. It's part of pop culture. It's grown worldwide, and it's just hard to deny that. Okay. BJF has a question in the chat for Jason. By the way, anyone in the chat or by email, feel free, if you have a question for Jason while I've got him here, to send something in quick. BJF said, I'd like to ask Jason what the extended strobe lights during the MFTs and Wyatt's face-off was like in the arena. It almost gave me a seizure watching from home.
Okay. No, that was fine. I think the crowd gave the MFTs the response that they were looking for when they came into the ring against the Wyatts. Made for a cool moment, and Solo generated a lot of heat. Solo was getting a lot of heat. Obviously, Seth Rollins, he wasn't there. He got a lot of heat. But for me, no, I didn't have an issue with it, but maybe some other people might have, but not for me. No.
A general question we asked, but I want to get to it. Who got the biggest reactions of the show? And especially I'm curious about Cody. We talked some specifics, but kind of in general for the ring entrance and the overall embracing of him. Did he feel like the biggest star in WWE, or did he feel like a big star who's in an opening segment. Like, was there some sort of difference in terms of the intensity and the passion of the response to him? And were there boos in the building?
No boost for Cody. To be honest, that's a hard question to answer because it's like everyone got the reaction that they were probably all looking for. I mean, yeah, Cody, first one out, got the big reaction, as did Rhea in the dark event. You know, I mean, Street Profits were getting a good reaction during their matches too. The crowd were along with it, as was Tiffany. Tiffany, again, Australia, Perth, we love Tiffany. You know, they loved her, but as they did Stephanie, I mean, everyone got, you know, Damien Priest got a strong reaction too. Everyone got a good reaction. I mean, obviously Cody is the number one guy, but I don't know. It's hard to like measure the pop and the intensity to see if he is genuinely the biggest star there. Because I mean, I guess you could say so, but I don't know. That's hard for me to comment on. You know, it's like everyone got the reaction that they were after, pretty much. You know?
Okay. Yep. So nothing super noteworthy, you know, larger or less than you would expect.
No, I just think that the heels, the ones that were meant to get booed, got booed. I mean, look, Nakamura got a great response. The crowd were happy to see him.
Yep.
Now, ironically, they kind of gave this away because there was a clip posted on social media of Nakamura, Sami Zayn, Chelsea, Tiffany, and The Miz, and I might have been missing someone. They went out to swim with the dolphins. You know what I mean? So I was like, wait a minute, Nakamura with Sami Zayn, what's going on here? Is he going to be the mystery opponent? So that worked out. But it was probably, you know, Nakamura, I mean, the crowd was into him, come back as a babyface, his original theme. It caught me off guard when the Street Profits came out with their original theme. And then I read that a lot more wrestlers are looking for that. You know, they want to go back to their original theme. So, yeah.
Jason, what do you make of the Street Profits right now and what they did tonight and just losing and pivoting away?
Don't know. You know, you're going with the White Six now, who are going to be obviously baby faces against the MFTs, right? But they were kind of half.
I guess. I mean, the way you love act books, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I
they
think
were half
right,
babyface, half heel. They were half babyface, half heel when they were feuding with all these tag teams.
Yeah.
What happens with the Street Profits now? I think they're going to tell us. Well, it's funny. So now they go back to their original theme, right? They were telling the story that there was dissension and beef, but they squashed it. Is the story going to be that they actually didn't squash it, that there is some still underlying beef there, and that's going to lead to a breakup or whatnot? I don't know. They've kind of been in a holding pattern for a while, the Street Profits. So that's an interesting one to see where they go with them.
Was there a favorite moment for you personally so far?
I wouldn't say I enjoyed the whole night. I wouldn't say there was like a favorite moment per se. I mean, the whole wanker thing was funny, you know, but I reckon they kind of expected that and played into it. You know what I mean? So Cody was like, I think Cody knew what we were saying, and he sort of played into it. And this is not meant to happen, this type of thing. And then Barrett being the English guy, because they say that in England as well. So but as far as an overall favorite moment, no, not really. I mean, I thought it's interesting. I was with a mate who doesn't follow wrestling, but he's into martial arts, right? And I said, 2 main event guys tonight, they're into martial arts. It's going to be like this Falls Count Anywhere match or Last Man Standing. I said, and we were sitting across. I said, see that stage bit over there? Something's going to happen there where someone's going to go through that table. That's why they set it up. And that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, you could tell where they were heading with that, but that match got a good response. The crowd was into it. I thought it was hard hitting. And when that fireball happened, that did catch a lot of the crowd by surprise. Yeah.
You're just spoiling all the surprises for the fans, Jason.
Me? Oh, yeah, they're the ones there. Well, yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like one of those, those like fans that go along with a non-fan and they feel like they have to impart their knowledge onto this fan to show that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But, and I got to admit, I fall into that trap sometimes, and we all do.
Of course.
You know what I mean? But I wasn't too bad with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. What? Anything else, Javier, you want to ask? By the way.
Just let me ask something crazy because since it's Australia, like if I'm in that stadium, like what am I looking for food?
For food,
best thing. Like I'm only order one thing. What to get?
Mate, it's all crap. It's expensive crap.
Well, obviously.
Burgers that have been reheated. No, you know what? No, you know what? It's good. It's all good. Healthy chips, healthy burgers. Nothing is overpriced. It's all good. It's
So
typical. What
Yeah.
you would expect, like $8 chips, $10 burgers, that type of thing. You know what I mean? But isn't that like everywhere? To be honest with you,
That's actually might be cheaper than most of my experiences.
really.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I remember at the Viking game a few weeks ago, I was with Jason Powell, and oh god, I mean, it's like you start doing the math. You're like, do I really need $15 French fries that are probably cold? Yeah, or chips.
Because I mean, we went to the baseball game, and here we have arepas and café cubano, and so we got some of that stuff. So some local stuff.
In fairness, Javier, there's a lot of nice eateries around the area, but
just
inside,
not the stadium.
Well, you're gonna get what you expect. You know what I mean? It's going to have its markup on it, and if I don't know.
I'll say this: the Major League Sports in the United States have, in the state of the art arena stuff, they often have really good food. I mean, the Twins, the Minnesota Twins baseball team at Target Field, I mean, they've got really good food, including a lot of vegan options that I like vegan brats that are delicious, that are made by a really good company locally. But it's hit or miss. And, at the Wild game, the NHL game, they cater differently. And it's just, I mean, fish, there's some fish, but otherwise it's burger and hot dogs and fries. So it's hit or miss. I mean, there's a really actually famous chef that the Minnesota Timberwolves hire or rents, or however it works out, at Target Center where the NBA team plays. And they have really custom gourmet food made for the stadium. And so it some stuff is good, but the stuff that does the best is when people go to a baseball game, they just want a hot dog, I mean, and yeah, you're trapped, so you got to overpay.
Somebody asked me, the Dunder, hey Jason, how bad is Vegemite? Yeah, I hate Vegemite. I'm not. What's
Vegemite?
Man, I've never liked it. It's meant to be good for you. It's full of B vitamins and all the rest of it, but I hate it. I don't know how. It's one of these things, you either love it or you hate it, and I'm one of these Australians that hate it. Tim Tams, on the other hand, they're nice.
What are
Vegemite? I've never. Tim Tams. You've heard of Tim Tams, the chocolate, right?
No.
Oh, you're missing out there, Wade. You've heard of them, Javier?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god. No. Okay. That's another thing we're known for our food, Tim Tams. So if you ever get a chance to have them, they're very nice. EO was walking with Rhea, I saw footage, and she had like a packet of Tim Tams. I was like, all right, that's okay. But the Vegemite, no, that's not good.
Vegemite is AI says it's an intensely savory, salty, and slightly bitter with a distinct musty quality that many find to be an acquired taste. It's a thick brown paste, often compared to concentrated bouillon or very thick savory jam. But yes, a rich source of B vitamins. There's many good ways to get B vitamins other than what they just described there.
See, the key word is acquired. Whenever they say acquired, that's when you know, oh, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a
totally.
minute.
Yeah.
Now, in fact, going back to the stadium, so I feel like I've got to represent Perth here and not be completely negative. We did have there was quite a selection of alcoholic drinks, which was good. So that's a good thing. And I did indulge in one of those. So, yeah, there we go.
Did you call them alcoholic drinks?
Alcohol.
Okay. I thought you said alcoholic. I was like, well, that's a little judgy. I don't judge these words, but like.
Yeah, you know what? I shouldn't have used that term. Yeah, that is a bit judgy, isn't it? Yeah. Well, then throw me in that category then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, getting things back on track, it was a good night. And I was just looking back on the feedback. A lot of people said that this was one of the better Smackdowns in recent weeks. So, I guess for me, with the MFTs, kind of. Would you say they're kind of trying to reheat them again with the face paint and Tama Tonga? I thought Tama Tonga might have come back maybe as a babyface siding with Jacob against Solo and his crew, but he came back and the crowd gave him a good reaction. So, and you look at some other things that they did there as far as, Aleister Black, just answering your question. So I thought it was a good question. I always thought Wade with Aleister Black, he's one of these people that you really have to meticulously book well and put a lot of thought into. Because he's not somebody who can suffer too many losses because then he kind of loses his mystique and his aura. So because I've gone in and out of watching AEW, right? But when I was watching him feud with Cody and what they did and showing him dominate Cody, I thought they portrayed him really well. So if they go down that track again, that's something I feel they could do with him, or else you have to be all in on him or not in at all, because I just feel like he's got that type of presentation.
Javier?
Yeah, and I think that he also needs to maintain a somewhat of an air of mystery too. I think he gets hurt if he's overexposed too much. So yeah, and again that helps with Selena where he could be a little bit more quiet, while still nailing the main points when it matters.
Jason, anything else you want to bring up?
I'll sign off. I've got an event to go to in 8 hours time. That's funny, hey? Like it's gonna, like you said, we'll be kicking off relatively soon. So yeah, enjoy it in the morning. I wonder how you're going to deal with that. You know, you poor Americans, you have to get up and watch this. I mean, you poor things. How are you going to do it?
As Joe Tessitore said about Raw, you can push play anytime you want.
I know. I just feel so bad by putting you guys out. You know?
yeah, right.
So bad. I mean, trying to force the metric system on you now. This, I mean, my God, everyone's against America, right?
The metric system is ridiculous.
There we go.
What's a decimeter? I know what a foot is. A foot's about the size of a foot.
I'm out. See you guys.
All right, Wade, Jabvier, nice speaking to you again. I'll try and call up after Crown Jewel. See how we go.
Yeah. Brandon will be standing by. Hopefully you can. Thanks, Jason. That was great talking with you.
Take care, guys. See ya.
You bet.
Take it easy.
All right. So getting back to the show itself, there's one match that directly promoted something happening tomorrow, I guess we're saying, at Crown Jewel Tiffany and Vacare. What did you think of their presentation, their interacting backstage briefly, body language, and how they didn't do anything too heavy-handed, but the blind tag, the unwelcome tag, I guess, to steal the glory, kind of the finish of the week last week on TV. And then Julian kind of James is kind of the, with James obviously the designated jobber of this foursome. Yeah, what do you think of that?
It was fine. This would be of the two champion versus champions match. The one that it's fine. It's a to me like it's an exhibition match. It'll be interesting to see who wins and what goes into it. I'm much more intrigued with the men's win just because of what it means for Seth Rollins and how they built that up. This is just like interesting. The problem is that we're going into this with I'm not really that interested in with the whole Tiffany Stratton title run, and it's early for it's really early in the Stephanie Vacare run. So outside of just the curiosity of like where the WWE feels both of these women are at and how they're going to do it, because I mean they've been touting Tiffany's undefeated streak. So is Vacare the one who's going to beat it, or they're going to save that for later? I could does Vacare win because that makes her that's hey, look, we're riding with her, and she and she's the one to end the streak, so she's the more important one. I'm curious. It's more like on a meta perspective, because there's not really much story to it. That's kind of where my interest in this match is.
By the way, do we know why Michael Cole pronounces her name the way he does?
Vacare?
Yeah, he's the only one who does it differently. Vac. I can't even remember what it is, but Todd and I talked about it on the fix. The ring announcer gets it right. Everyone else gets it right, and he has some weird pronunciation of how to say the second syllable.
Huh. I gotta pay attention to that next time.
Yeah. And no big deal, but it's just surprised no one's mentioned it, or he hasn't.
Not Vacare. He doesn't say Vacare.
Yeah, I think he says Vacare.
Probably long E sound for whatever reason. Yeah. He's probably hung up on that.
Well, it sounds wrong because everyone else is doing it the other way. So, yeah. How's Tiffany doing? Do you think, Jabvier, overall? I mean, they obviously decided she was going to be a star. Fans started cheering for her Barbie heel persona. Yeah, I mean, is she a success?
It's. I don't think it's like her fault. It's I did listen to a bunch of your stuff, and you talk about it's to get to the Tiffany time. It's to get, and this goes for everybody. But that it feels like she's too too robotic in that respect. So. But it's also like the material that they give her and the feuds that she's been in and the people that she's had to fight, and I don't think it's been a train wreck by any means.
Yeah.
But I also don't think it's been it's not like something that's elevated the title. I'm waiting for something to happen with her. I think that maybe just having her as a babyface is not the greatest idea. I think she could probably do more as a heel than a babyface. Yeah. So I think part of the problem was, and this happened to a lot of call-ups, is that she was popular in NXT. This is my opinion. I think she was popular in NXT mainly because she had like the Trish Stratus kind of, character, and the people were like, which is supposed to be heelish, but the people liked it, like almost ironically, right? So then they're like, oh, they like it, so let's bring her in as a babyface like that. But you didn't establish her in the main roster, so it kind of felt like she went babyface too soon without really explaining what her character is and getting people to that. So she kind of feels almost like she's in limbo almost. And I'm hoping that if she turns heel, because I mean, there was a look that she gave to Kiana Ray. Maybe she's joining Julia and Kiana James. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they need to do something to get her to the next stage, and part of it is just her expanding beyond saying, Tiffy time and her vocal range, and then she's super athletic. I mean, and she has it's almost a distinct look now. It used to be like there used to just be a bunch of people who look like her on the roster, and the Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn parade of busty blondes. But now, I mean, there's such a diversity. She actually kind of stands out a bit. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, she's a work in progress. It's sort of, sometimes people are seen as a star and it takes a while to fulfill it. And I think she's doing okay, but not great in this role. All right. Wyatt 6, what do you make of, there's a big ring entrance. Again, they were sort of creatively abandoned. There were some injuries. It just doesn't feel like they're really committed to the bit. And I just don't enjoy it when it's sort of half done. I think if you're going to do it, you kind of got to do it. And they're just like, okay, here's a group of people. And every once in a while, we'll push them for a month or two. And they have a cool ring entrance. I don't know, especially when you're living in the shadow of Bray. I just think you got to decide, do we believe in Bo Dallas? And if so, give him material and really, really go with this. I don't know how the feud an hour match with Solo's crew will change them in any way, or if it'll help. But yeah, what do you think about? I mean, as someone who's obviously was into the Funhouse and the Wyatt era, are you disappointed or devastated, or still holding out hope, or think it's actually going pretty well?
No, I mean, I wouldn't. I probably with the ones that you gave me, probably disappointed would probably be the most apt one. And it's mainly because it's a big group, and you have not you haven't given them time to really explore the characters. And like you said, it's not doesn't necessarily have to be Bo Dallas. It could be Nikki, because Nikki's done a really good job. She was kind of almost took over Sanity back in the day from Eric Young. She was the person that the audience was most drawn to. And today when she faced off with she was face to face with I think it was not Tamatonga, Tangaloa, and I think Solo. She got in their face, and I'm like, hey, this might be an interesting thing where she's the fearless thing. We got to see some personality from Nikki in this, so that's what I want to see. I want to see if you can't do it with vignettes and stuff. Spend some time maybe in the ring instead of just doing wrestling moves. Just let the characters come out more in the match, something along those lines. But yeah, it feels like they need more time. But again, is it worth giving more time if you don't feel it? But that's the thing. It's if you're not confident with them, you just might as well not do it. Because you're just eating up time and not really getting behind them. So hopefully. I mean, seeing them across from MFTs, I'm excited. I was kind of with the people saying, okay, well, if we could get a strong, just, this faction versus this faction and them get, as violent as WWE is comfortable with, that might be cool, with the face paint and stuff, and just kind of just two violent groups going against each other. That got my blood, my blood going. I'm like, this could be good. But my faith that is going to be good is not really there. There's good potential. I'm kind of hyped for it, but let's see where this goes.
Some chat room comments here coming in. The Dunder says disappointment. Ryan Solorio goes, we got a holy shit chant for the Wyatt 6 and the MFTs. LOL.
I was one of them.
Yep. Azan White says MFT seemed a lot cooler than the Bo Dallas crew. Scott TPA said, I fell asleep as soon as the tag match started. The Profits and Wyatts are boring. It was a short nap if you only missed the match. Purvis Young says, what are they doing with the Street Profits? Are they breaking them up or not? I assume so because they seemed committed to that, but then I don't know. I mean, they've thought about it before and pulled back. So I'll believe it when I see it. What are the odds percentage-wise that they are broken up? Because I think a lot of people are speculating because they dropped some hints that, Angelo Dawkins is going to join the Wyatt Six, or I don't know what is going to happen if they break up. And again, Javier, what do you think the odds are?
I mean, it's probably the highest now because we're thinking that they're not. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times, traditionally, Triple H's been a little bit weird here. So can't go always, with it. But traditionally, like they'll tease the breakup, then everything's good for like a week or two, and then like the breakup happens like out of nowhere. Or sometimes even months, and then the breakup happens out of nowhere because they want both to have the backstory and have the sort of surprise.
Yeah.
So and the fact that they lost the way that they lost, okay, there were shenanigans, but not trademark my show. They sure there's that, but it was about as clean as a victory that you get when you're facing a heel team that has outside interference. So I could see them start getting, having more issues against, or have this be like the thing that breaks them up. So yeah, I mean, and when they do, it's I think that Montez Ford is someone who's like going to have a higher ceiling, like just if you just plugging him in now as a solo, but. My heart's with Dawkins. I think Dawkins can be something, good because he's kind of got like, for me, he's kind of like the mechanic kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, and he also has charisma. I think that if you package him the right way, I think he could be like a surprise if you handle him right.
Some more chat comments here. Sadler Vision 3 says Wyatt 6 is a snooze fest for me. SmackDown Tag Division was getting interesting, then immediately killed by the Wyatt 6 winning the belts. And that's the thing. I mean, if they're going to be tag champs, build them up, make it a big deal. It defines down the notion of being tag champs when they are just so not. They're not treated as special. Their reign isn't treated as a big deal. They treat the tag belts like props too often, and it's disappointed. Scott TPA says, I'm much more interested in the MFTs winning the tag belts again. Azan says, a year is a little bit too late for the Wyatt 6 for me. Sadler says, it's also weird only 2/5 of the Wyatts wrestle. Bo and Nikki and Rowan are essentially managers. And BJF says, I'm interested again now with the Wyatts, now with the MFT face-off, and it's rejuvenated both teams aside from the strobe stuff. So, yeah. Azan says the Street Profits have been the same act for 6 years. And yeah, I mean, everything about their promo just feels like, okay, we say some things and then we say we want the smoke. And it's like, I know WWE's into catchphrases, and that's valuable, and I'm not against it in general, but you got to grow beyond it. And when it seems like everything is just filling time until you won't believe what we're going to say, but we want the smoke. And it's like, yeah, 5 years ago it was kind of cool. Now, nothing. And as JC Scooby 1976 says, Street Profits are boring. They bring nothing to their characters. The Dunder says Street Profits should go singles. So there we have it. Let's maybe close with, or in terms of the topic from SmackDown here, Cody's promo, and delve into a little bit more, broaden it out to what you have thought of the story that they're telling, because I showed a clip of the kickoff show where Seth just turned and left, and Heyman kind of looked shocked, and then Braun and Bronson kind of chatted about it. There's a sense that Seth is just in another place. He's got to win. He's obsessed with winning. Heyman made it seem like, yeah, if you don't win, I mean, Braun and Bronson aren't going to have faith in you, and our whole plan's going to fall apart. I don't know that I think I'll end up regretting affiliating and associating with you. What have you thought of that, and how did Cody's promo today amplify that? Did it do a good job of that, or was it too playful and kind of obtuse around the edges or something like that in terms of, because Cody can sometimes get a little caught up in meta and self-referential stuff and lose the point of the promo. How did this rate? So your thoughts on all that?
I think, and it's probably with today, I think they're at the point where I think they might have overplayed their hand. I think that they have played the fact that Seth Rollins is is he's not confident. He has a crisis of confidence. He's got they're playing up that he's 3-0. I think they brought up that he hasn't won a Crown Jewel, right? That Crown Jewel's not like he hasn't been successful in Crown Jewel.
No, I didn't even pick that up. Yeah.
I think they might have mentioned that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody on the chat? But so they've been basically pushing, that things are set up for things to go really bad if Seth loses.
Yeah.
And they've been hitting and they've just been banging that drum so hard that I'm like at the point where like not gonna lose. So what is a big splash that they're going to do? Maybe he doesn't lose a new faction member, perhaps. So I don't know.
I don't either.
That kind of, so that could be something to look out for. So outside of that, it just Becky's not booked for anything, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I mean, I doubt that. I don't think that's going to be the big surprise, but there'll likely be some. I don't know. I got a feeling there's going to be some surprise, so we'll find out tomorrow. Either that or, I mean, I don't, because I mean, if he loses, what does that mean? So yeah, there's going to be something going on.
I'm curious. I'm curious about the give and take, the Heyman dynamic, the finish, the ramifications of it. It'll be sort of boring if just Braun and Brunson and Heyman interfere and help Seth win. It'll be boring, but then, I guess you can just, Seth maybe thinks, well, did I need their help? Was that really satisfying? I don't know how many heels have that level of introspection.
There's the Lesnar hasn't been mentioned in a long time, so maybe that might be why there hasn't been too much talk about that, so that he's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Brock Benningfield says Cody rambled a bit in a Rhodes kind of way, but I think he stuck the landing. Essentially, I'm better than you, and I'm about to prove it. Sadler Vision 3 goes, Seth is surely winning. The match means nothing to Cody's future. CJ LaChapelle says Cody will win. Azan, by the way, notes Seth won at Crown Jewel in 23. So there is that follow-up.
Did Jason beat me to the on the quote that new member Vision? Did he beat me when I said it, or did I say it after he did?
The Jason D comment?
Yeah.
Someone has to interfere on behalf of Seth, a new member of the Vision. He has to win, right? That one?
Yeah. I don't know if I said it before.
I'm not sure either. Yeah. So, I mean, Seth having all this inner turmoil, I think is interesting for him, and I think it was this was needed to make the Seth Heyman dynamic more interesting because they just barely interacted. There wasn't a chemistry there, and now there's, I don't know if tension is the word, but there's something. We're getting a window into something different than Seth just doing haha and wearing his clothes, wearing the Liberace outfits and being Seth. He's getting to do something different now, and Heyman is interacting with him different than he has with Lesnar and Reigns and Breaker and the people he's managed in the past. So it's interesting.
Overall, what I like about what they've done with that is they finally kind of gave us like you said, a glimpse into what the relationship's like. It feels more. It's unlike the other two. It feels like it's where Heyman is subservient to both Lesnar and Reigns. This feels like it's more like a business association.
Yep.
With probably even Heyman like above. So, where he's like the client. It just feels more kind of like the relationship Don Callis has with like the family kind of deal, where you could kind of tell that like if you, and he hinted at that on, I think it was on Monday, that if you don't win, then we're going to have to reevaluate things. So so I mean, I'm interested. I really liked the dynamic and and the stuff that's going on with that. So
it's more pragmatic than out of friendship and love and Zahn says it's more Mick Jagger than Liberace Wade. Well, can we just meld him into Elton John? Can we just go with that? Let's see. Sean Plichta jumps in here, says, "What's up, everyone? I thought Cody's promo was fine. The build to this match has been very solid, even though I don't like these kinds of matches." Sean says Seth needs a clean win, but I wonder if he does. I wonder, though, if they help Brunson cheat to beat Roman. If Roman lost, even through cheating, that'd be a story. Sadler Vision 3 says, I don't think Seth needs to win clean. He just needs to win since he's a heel. He can still claim he's better than Cody, even with cheating. So anyway, I'm intrigued by it. Do you like the lineup for Crown Jewel? Javier?
Yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, I kind of poke fun if you read the for the Acknowledge W, I kind of poked fun. You had this one with a really good build, the Stephanie McCare with like not that great of a build, and then like no build for the AJ Styles Cena one at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, and then I think they hit a lot of like sweet spots where like each story is in general. So yeah, I'm pleasantly interested in Crown Jewel Perth.
Yep. Anything else you want to add about SmackDown tonight, or anything for the post show here?
Well, I mean, the other one, and because they didn't even make the show here, the other one that's also feels like they're spinning their wheels is the women's tag team with Charlotte and Bliss.
Yeah.
They're doing some, and it's a continual thing that they're doing some theoretically funny stuff, like in this one with Charlotte going the wrong direction. You know what they say? Oh, they're not even talking to the
same
other.
page. Yeah.
They're not on the same page, and then they both go in the different direction. I got the joke, but it's kind of like, it was like, oh yeah, it's kind of funny, but you see the joke, so you're not really laughing at it. You're just laughing at the idea of the joke, and that's kind of been like my issue with what they've been doing. But it feels like those titles are the only ones I think are less important than the men's title. That it's like, oh, we'll fit them in the show, well, we can fit them in. So
yeah, it's weird when there's the Raw. There's matches they hype on Raw, matches they hype on SmackDown, and then matches are hyping that are not part of the PLE that are just for future episodes around SmackDown. And I mean, but if they're trying to get people to pay $60 to watch a 3-hour pay-per-view, the hype would be different. They would have done more to talk about. This is one of your last chance to see John Cena, and I'm like, whatever. I mean, they do have that sort of shoulder shrug. Watch if you want. It's there. Yeah, I mean, Javier, if they were trying to get people to spend $60 and they didn't have these huge media deals, there would have been heavy hype for Cena and AJ cross show over onto SmackDown tonight.
Yeah, I've got my speculation. It'll take too long. I don't want to go that deep into it. But I got speculation, and Cena probably fought for them to have this match, because I'm not buying that whole. I was doing the moves and like it was all to trick the audience, and I'm like, but this was happening on social media. I don't buy any of that.
Yeah. All right. Very good. I'm good to sign off if you are, Javier.
Yeah.
We got a short turnaround time, so we'll go a little shorter than usual here. Thanks everybody in the chat. Thanks to Jason. Great to get an in-person perspective on the show. And everybody, get some sleep and check out the post show hosted by Brandon LeClaire. Hopefully Jason will call in, and that'll be available on the PWTorch Dailycast feed tomorrow. But you can watch it live on YouTube as it airs. And that's about it. Yeah, check out PWTorch.com as always for coverage of the show tomorrow. And go VIP, everybody. We'll throw that plug in one more time. Love to have you as a VIP member. PWTorch.com/GoVIP gives you full details on the VIP podcast lineup. Almost 2,000 back issues of the Pro Wrestling Torch newsletter dating back decades, and so many other perks. And until next time, Wade Keller, thanking you again and signing off.